Zamfara State Police Command bans night loading cattle to address cases of cattle rustling. Plus, welfare of 100,000 Cameroonian refugees, a major concern for Borno State as government seeks support for humanitarian development partners. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober in Abuja. Also reading tonight is Jennifer Igwe in Lagos, and Abolade Salami is standing by for business news. President of the United Nations General Assembly, Professor Tijani Muhammad Bandi, says the new vision of the United Nations on global peace and security, among others, is enhancing the image of the organization before the global community. He was speaking in a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs as part of his official engagements in Nigeria. Usman Aliu has details.
This is more than just a visit. It is a mission by the United Nations to project how countries such as Nigeria can address global challenges on peace and security, education, poverty eradication, climate change, as well as women and youth inclusion in the contemporary development agenda. President of the United Nations General Assembly, Professor Tijani Bandi, acknowledges Nigeria's achievements, describing the feat as a serious success, particularly in the fight against terrorism.
The United Nations system has supported the effort of Nigeria in dealing with the regional problem of Boko Haram. And we are glad that, by all accounts, we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And we commend the efforts of Nigeria for leading the other countries in the region to come together under whatever platform are possible.
The support Nigeria is getting from the United Nations in social and economic sectors have been enormous, and this kind of platform provides the opportunity to assure the paramount global organization that the federal government is seriously working to realize its development vision.
Your vision is one that this country and this government identifies with, and it also responds to our priorities as a government. So we will work hand in hand with you to achieve those goals.
United Nations General Assembly is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations in which all member nations have equal representation. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
And I'm being joined in the studio now by Professor Tijani Muhammad Bandi, who is President of the UN General Assembly. Thanks for being with us on Network News.
Thank you for the invitation.
Well, you certainly won't tire of it. Talking about your vision for the United Nations.
Yes, indeed. It is an important organization, and it is key to peace, development, and the enthronement of rights of beings around the world. And therefore, it is vitally important that we understand it and see in what way we can work with it to achieve our individual agendas, but also to advance in the same way global peace and security.
Well, that's an important aspect of global peace and security, but of course there are regions in the world where this has continued to remain a major challenge. Nigeria not excluded from this.
Well, indeed, the whole purpose of the organization is to, one, ensure that what happened in 1945, 1945, never happens again. And globally, we have had success in preventing other generalized war among nations. But there are bitter disputes in parts of the world. Some have lasted long, but others have actually successfully been addressed through the efforts of the organization. And yes, it is true that this is the issue, but the effort of the United Nations has been outstanding in bringing peace, including in peacekeeping in areas where peace has really eluded us.
Well, some of the factors that may be promoting conflicts around the world, of course, include poverty, hunger, and the struggle for economic empowerment, and how are you addressing those?
Indeed, these are drivers of conflict, and the adoption in 2015 of the Sustainable Development Goals, wherein all countries, and I emphasize all countries, agreed to reach certain goals, is a major feat of multilateralism. And they are really goals that if we get the targets in each of the 17 goals, we can say are really tools for both peace and development. And they address the first element there in the goals is eradication of poverty. There's a global agenda, which means eradication of poverty is understood as important in all countries. You add that poverty to the issue of inequality, because even if countries have advanced in achieving success in overcoming absolute poverty, the issue of inequality within nations is an important matter. So is the issue of inequality among nations, and therefore that is the number one agenda of the world, because poverty is a compound affliction. With poverty, you see individuals are not able, or they are not enabled to address education or health or other needs. That's why it is number one. Next to it is, of course, we are dealing with zero hunger. They are connected. So is quality education. These are real issues facing the world. But again, we emphasize, not all parts of the world are equally affected. And that's the whole point of the goals, that we are able, through the efforts of the United Nations, through partnerships, to ensure that all countries are able to achieve goals.
All right, just two quick issues before we let you go. One of them is, you're the second Nigerian to hold this position as President of the General Assembly. How significant is that for you?
I think it is, for me, very significant. But more importantly, it's really extremely significant for Nigeria, because to be accepted to head the United Nations General Assembly is a major indication of the place of the country among its peers. And to have 30 years after the late Joe Garba, a Nigerian elected, I think is something that should be a cause of joy, in that it will enable Nigeria not to showcase itself just in the sense of showcasing, but to lead in the effort to solve global problems.
All right. One final question, Professor Bandi, and that is this push to get African representation on the Security Council of the United Nations. And many people have said Nigeria deserves to be there.
Well, that is true. Nigeria is one of the countries in Africa that have agreed a consensus as to the way to proceed in South Libya, and also the Tunis consensus. All African states are agreed to this. First of all is to guarantee that Africa is given its due within the Council, including having the power of veto, if the veto should continue in any reformed system. Now, when that river is reached, to now cross it as to who in Africa will lead is a discussion in-house. And I can tell you, the way the AU operates now in a brotherly spirit, I think we find the wisdom to agree who on the continent should, given their contribution, I think should lead, should take the honor for the continent, not for itself.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll find some other platforms to explore more on your role as President of the UN General Assembly. So we'd like to thank you for coming on this, and just say welcome home.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. In other news, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally put to rest insinuations in some quarters that the governing APC might be interested in tenure elongation, saying emphatically that this is not in his character. Addressing the National Executive Council meeting of the party in Abuja, the president described such comments as unfounded, baseless and mischievous. State House correspondent Adam Sambu has details.
I'm not going to make a mistake of attempting to have a third term or whatever term. Besides age, I swore by the holy book I believe in that I will go by the Constitution. The Constitution said 2 terms.
President Muhammadu Buhari, however, promised to work assiduously towards ensuring that the governing APC remains the party to beat in Nigeria's political landscape.
We will work honestly through the system to make sure that we get the best that can come out and get elected to the top. And we hope he will be an APC candidate. Every member of NEC should from today reposition himself or herself to make sure that you have dominated your constituency politically. History will not be fair to us, quite rightly, if the APC collapses at the end of this term.
The president said in the remaining period of his tenure, he will remain focused and execute his mandate conscientiously and with absolute concern and care for Nigeria and Nigerians.
I know between me and majority of Nigerians, the previous election proved it that we are in good terms. And I would like to maintain that respect. I like to carry you along to make sure that we have wakened up this country. We have worked very hard wherever we found ourselves.
While reflecting on the performance of the party in the last general elections, the president described the loss suffered in some states due to internal wrangling as unfortunate. He used the opportunity to appreciate the leadership of the 9th National Assembly for continuously exhibiting high sense of responsibility and patriotism, unlike what obtained in the last assembly.
The 9th National Assembly, they have so much commitment. They sit down on important issues and we make a lot of progress. This relationship we will try and maintain because there are a lot of things that will not go public. But I assure you that we are making a lot of progress.
The national chairman of the APC, Adams Shomale, described as reassuring the leadership provided by the president in addressing Nigeria's fundamental challenges.
There can be no question that the president has provided leadership to tackle head-on 3 critical issues that has bogged down the Nigerian nation, which you eloquently summarize as the economy, security, and war against corruption.
This, he said, is responsible for the greater confidence reposed in the party by Nigerians, hence the overwhelming victory recorded in the last general elections.
I think our victory in Kwara State, for me, was most outstanding. I think we now generally refer to Kwara with pride as Otoge Revolution.
The National Executive Committee meeting attended by the Vice President, principal officers of the National Assembly, members of the National Working Committee and other stalwarts of the party was the first since the last general elections. In Abuja, Adam Musambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress said it has adopted the recommendation of the National Caucus that President Muhammadu Buhari constitutes a National Reconciliation Committee. The committee will be empowered to address grievances of party members and resolve existing conflicts, all with a view to fostering unity and oneness within the party. A statement by the APC National Publicity Secretary Lanre Isaunidu says the decision is one of the highlights of the APC NEC meeting held at the party's National Secretariat, where President Buhari assured Nigerians that the APC-led government will not relent in providing the enabling environment for Nigerians to thrive by continuously investing massively in the country's infrastructure renewal. The statement notes that the APC National Chairman, Adams Oshomole, gave a scorecard of the party's performances after the 2019 elections and congratulated members on the party's victory during the recent governorship elections in Bayelsa and Kogi states. You're still watching NTA Network News. We'll take a short break. The news returns. Buhari stated this at the 2019 presidential parley with participants of the Senior Executive Course 41 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
After a series of lectures, brainstorming sessions, as well as study tours that lasted 10 months, participants of the Senior Executive Course 41 of the National Institute are here to present their report to the President on funding universal healthcare delivery in Nigeria. The theme was thoroughly researched at the instance of the Nigerian leader in furtherance of his desire to fundamentally transform the healthcare sector and improve the well-being of the citizens.
I can inform Mr. President confidently that this report is a product of a thoroughgoing and painstaking engagement with relevant stakeholders and critical analysis of the issues and challenges in funding universal healthcare in Nigeria. It is our prayer that government will adopt many of the usable recommendations as part of the ongoing efforts at making healthcare accessible and affordable to all citizens.
Professor Galadima is, however, worried that despite being Nigeria's apex policy and strategy think tank, NIPS is under-patronized and underutilized, saying ministries, departments and agencies rarely consult with the institute in developing their policies and strategies.
Let me reaffirm the commitment of the National Institute to always work in the best interest of our great nation and its people.
President Muhammadu Buhari thanked the participants and indeed the Institute for the good work being done towards supporting national development aspirations. He described the findings and recommendations of the Executive Course 41 participants on funding universal healthcare delivery as very innovative and useful.
I assure you that the Ministry of Health and all relevant agencies will be directed to review this submission and ensure its integration into our ongoing policies and programs. Nigeria is signatory to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and is committed to achieving the universal health coverage aspiration by 2030.
The president, who used the opportunity to congratulate the National Institute on its 40th anniversary, promised the continued support of his administration towards addressing prevailing challenges.
There is no doubt that the Institute, despite its funding challenges, has discharged its responsibilities as the nation's apex health think tank.
During the presidential parley, the participants, as well as the board and management of the institute, formally expressed appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for selflessly steering the ship of the Nigerian state back on course from what they described as very murky waters. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
On to some security matters now. The Nigerian Army War College is to upscale the search for solutions to the nation's emerging security challenges. This was highlighted by the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, at the graduation of Course 3 of the institution. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
Army War College Nigeria, Major.
This signifies the conferment of the fellowship of the prestigious Premier Army War College on these participants after 33 weeks intensive learning. The Army War College, established in 2017, is focused on developing the capacity of officers from the military, paramilitary and intelligence agencies in operational art, war management and strategic skills.
As today's operational level commanders, you constitute the nucleus of all security operations as it is in the level that surfaces between tactical and strategic level.
The 2019 Course 3 had 66 graduates with 2 allied officers from Cameroon and Congo. Colonel Oweshuejiga of the Nigerian Army emerged the best graduate. From the Nigerian Army War College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Zamfara State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has banned night loading of cattle in the state. Commissioner of Police Usman Nagugu stated this during a stakeholders meeting on how to address the lingering cases of cattle rustling in the state. Haliru Muhammad Umar reports.
Cattle rustling has over the years become one of the major security challenges in Zamfara State, and it seems to have persisted despite the ongoing peace initiative in the state. The Zamfara State Commissioner of Police Usman Nagugu convened a stakeholders meeting to deliberate on how best to address the lingering problem. Issues related to the proliferation of stolen cows in animal markets across the state and the way out were extensively discussed at the meeting. The Commissioner of Police, who largely accused some of the stakeholders of encouraging the crime of cattle rustling through patronizing the stolen cows, warned that anybody found engaging in the unlawful act will be arrested and prosecuted. In their separate remarks, representatives of the various stakeholders at the meeting spoke on different dimensions of the problem and offered some suggestions on how best to deal with the situation. CP Nagogo, who responded to some of the issues raised by the stakeholders, announced the banning of night loading by cattle dealers in the state with immediate effect.
We discovered there are some markets that were hitherto not existing as springing up. And these are the markets that are main places where these cattle are being sold. And we intend to liaise with the government at the end of the day so that those markets will be closed.
It will be recalled that Zamfara State government recently made it mandatory for all those who bring cows to market for sale to have their photographs and that of the animals taken, and the buyers be issued a receipt as part of measures to check the increasing cases of cattle rustling across the state. From Gusau, Haliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
And two top officials of a commercial bank in Ekiti State have been arrested for alleged conspiracy and connivance over a robbery which claimed 2 lives. Tayo Shaw reports that the Commissioner of Police ordered their arrest after watching the CCTV footages.
The robbery, which left 2 persons, a policeman and a 5-year-old student, dead, took place at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, with huge cash carted away by the robbers, who used dynamite to break into the banking hall to have access to the vault. Commissioner of Police, Ekiti State Command, while on inspection at the scene of the incident, regretted the loss of lives, but promised to ensure that the perpetrators are arrested.
It is either there is that strict connivance or taking advantage to carry out their own intention, which investigation would prove. Plus or minus, there is a missing chain in the link. So it is that missing chain that we are actually working on, and I can assure you we'll make sure we mend the missing chain to get the result of our investigation.
The operations and branch managers of the bank are in police custody while investigation continues. In Ado-Ekiti, Tayo Shaw, NTA News.
Nigeria is stepping up its military might in a landmark agreement between the government of India and the Defense Research and Development Bureau, which will enhance military operations through indigenous technology. Correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
Birds of a feather flock together, and Nigeria and India share many similarities, notably in the areas of security and technology. These are about to be enhanced as the Indian High Commissioner signs an agreement on behalf of India's Defense Research and Development Organization with its Nigerian counterpart to produce Raman detectors for improvised explosive devices, IEDs, at standoff ranges.
First, such concrete and very specific instance of cooperation in the field of defense research. I think it's already paving the way for more collaboration in future.
I want to thank the government of India for supporting this noble initiative that would embolden our troops, save their lives.
This technology, the Bureau says, will have a profound effect on the safety of troops who are exposed to the danger of explosives on the battlefield, as well as unsuspecting civilians who are usually casualties in such conflict areas. It is expected that the landmark agreement to produce the state-of-the-art military hardware will enhance the capacity of local technicians and create employment opportunities. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
And staying with the military, following the approval of the promotion of senior officers of the armed forces to higher ranks by their various councils, a decoration ceremony followed, much to the pride of the officers and their spouses. Here again is correspondent Naja'atu Tijani.
Following the approval of its council, the Nigerian Air Force promoted a total of 99 officers, including 13 Air Commodores promoted to the rank of Air Vice Marshal, 35 Group Captains promoted to the rank of Air Commodore, and 51 Wing Commanders promoted to the rank of Group Captain.
This must impact positively on the security of Nigeria and Nigerians, and that's my belief. With this promotion now, they are going to become more committed, and they will certainly add a lot of value to what we are already doing, and this will ultimately translate into security for Nigeria and Nigerians.
A decoration ceremony took place at the headquarters Nigerian Air Force. Similarly, the Nigerian Navy approved the promotion of a total of 140 naval officers to higher ranks, in which the decoration also followed at the naval headquarters, where the Ministry of Defense pledged continued support to the armed forces of Nigeria.
Especially in the provision of critical equipment and weapons that will facilitate your operations.
I rejoice and felicitate with the newly promoted officers. I wish to pledge the unalloyed commitment of the officers and ratings of the Nigerian Navy to a safe, secure, and stable maritime environment.
The Nigerian Army Council also approved the promotion of senior officers to the next ranks of Major General and Brigadier General. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Cooperation among all African countries in the areas of expertise and assistance has been noted as critical to the attainment of the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating of Corruption. Hamman Jabani reports that this synergy is yielding results with the training of personnel of anti-corruption agencies in Africa by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission at its academy in Abuja.
Abraham Sheriff and Patricia Birma are among the 10 staff of Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission that participated in a 2-week training on capacity development, technical assistance and information exchange.
I'm going to enhance a lot of things from what we do in Monrovia, Liberia, in terms of the fight against corruption.
So the importance in the fight against corruption, because corruption is a very serious thing in Africa. So we need to put our feet down in fighting corruption.
Acting Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, who is a strong advocate in the fight against corruption, explained, with corruption not restricted to any boundary, the fight must therefore be without limitations.
And we have entered a lot of mutual MOU with several countries. The need to exchange information and intelligence, and if need be, we'll go to their country and operation will be conducted jointly.
Go out there to the public, to the NGOs, and so on, work with them to prevent even corruption from taking place.
For the Liberian government, the training of its citizens will help the country's move towards national development.
It will enable the instilling of our new institutions the basic tenets of integrity and of a value system that appreciates honesty, hard work, and humility.
The likes of Abraham and Patricia believe that the training received by EFCC Academy should be extended to other African countries to fulfill the African Union's Convention in Preventing and Combating Corruption. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And more on the anti-graft war, the Federal Road Safety Corps is clamping down on its corrupt personnel in line with its renewed strategy of addressing corruption in the Corps. Abubakar Usman Apanga reports that as a first step, about 180 personnel of the Corps are facing prosecution for professional misconduct.
outcry on the conduct of some personnel of the Federal Road Safety Corps has prompted the management to adopt measures that will make them keep to the mandate of preventing and minimizing auto crash, as well as clearing distortion on highways. The Corps is clamping down on bad elements through collaboration with ICPC and DSS to fish out corrupt officials and arraign them for prosecution before the law court. So far, about 180 personnel of the Corps were arrested in connection with different offences on the highways viewed as unacceptable conduct by the Corps.
These clampdowns became imperative in view of the need for complementary efforts of FRSC as a corporate organization with good national investment to join efforts being made by Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to protect the good national economic resources and intellectual property of the nation through the fight against corruption.
In addition to the breakthroughs recorded in sanitizing the Corps, a new vista for entertaining issues from the public is provided through its newly inaugurated traffic radio. This is a clear demonstration of firm commitment by the Corps to reorganize apparatus of the service and maintain professional ethics as enshrined in its mandate. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
We now go to Lagos, where experts are looking at possible reforms in the construction industry. And Jennifer Igwe is our guide. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Cyril, and welcome to Lagos. Like Cyril said, we're starting with reform in the construction industry. Now, major players in the construction industry are proposing a reform in procedure and processes in line with international best practice for sustainable economic growth. Dr. Guyemi reports that this was at a forum in Lagos.
Construction industry is an important sector that contributes greatly to the economic growth of any nation. The industry is also described by experts as a driver of growth in other sectors. Adapting to the impending change in the global economy towards developing the Nigeria's construction industry involved the convergence of professionals in this hall, charting a way forward for the construction industry.
We're calling attention of leaders that look, how do we go? How do we proceed? Should we take it lightly or also be progressive about our plans towards changing world order?
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu represented remarked that the nation's economy would benefit more from the international community if the industry can improve on its productivity.
As a developing nation, there's a strong imperative to toe the line of nationalism as a strategy to stimulate economic growth through development of local industries, increased productivity, job creation, and wealth generation.
New members, including a staff NTA Property and Investment Company, were inducted at the forum. In Lagos, Dotun Guyemi, NTA News.
Away from the construction industry, the 3-day All-Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, continued in Lagos with performances from notable music artists from the continent. Zeze Arure brings us an update on the ongoing event in Lagos.
This is the 6th edition of the All-Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA 2019, the annual event that brings together African music talent and celebrates the Africans in them. The All-Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, promotes African cultural heritage around the continent by rewarding and celebrating musical creativity and works of talented African artists.
AFRIMA unites not just the entertainment celebrities, but also it has united industries.
AFRIMA, African artists from across the continent came out to support, and I'm blessed to be on the stage.
And I think it's an award that should be given a lot of support.
It also signifies awareness, for us to identify with the culture of Africa.
The 2019 edition of the awards hosted musical stars at the AFRIMA Music Village, where a festival-style outdoor music concert held at Agege Stadium, with performances from nominees and guest artists. The All-Africa Music Awards was established by the International Committee of AFRIMA in collaboration with African Union, AU. The 2019 edition is expected to round off this Saturday. In Lagos, Uzezi Arure, NTA News.
And now to business, and Salami, Abolade Salami is on standby.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good evening and welcome to the Business News segment. Nigeria's gross domestic product grew by 2.28% year-on-year in real terms in the third quarter of 2019. A report released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the third quarter figure had an increase of 0.47%. On quarter basis, the real GDP grew by 9.23%, which represents the second highest quarterly rate recorded since 2016.
Of stakeholders towards re-strategizing on how to grow the market, build resilience, and ensure competitiveness.
Can't you leave the financing of funding of the infrastructure to private investors? What we want from government is to get an enabling environment. Private investors can embrace the capital market for the funding of the infrastructural projects.
Speakers at the conference highlighted the role of the Institute in recording significant progress in the industry.
The responsibility of building the Nigerian capital market we envision falls on the shoulders of each of us individually and collectively as an ecosystem.
People look at the stock market as gambling. It's not. It is what we call intellectual investment.
Members of the National Assembly pledged their support to the cause of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers.
Trading of stocks in the Nigerian capital market closed the week in green as the market gained 0.44%. Let's see today's details.
The bullish run recorded in the Nigerian capital market in the last trading session has been attributed to the performance of big cap securities. The market at the close of Friday's trading appreciated by 0.44% to close the all-share index at 26,991.42 basis points. Volume of shares traded stood at 207 million, valued at 2.8 billion naira, which changed hands in 3,630 deals, with a market capitalization of 13.2 trillion naira. Nestle led other companies on the gainers table, followed by Okomo Oil and Forte Oil, while on the flip side, Nigerian breweries, Dangote Cement and Dangote Sugar depreciated in figures.
And that's a wrap on Business News. Cyril in Abuja will be back with the rest of the news after this short commercial break. Please do stay with us.
We're back in Abuja with more news. Borno State government has made the case for humanitarian and development partners to support 100,000 refugees from the states in Cameroon and Niger republics who will be relocated home. This came up during the midterm review of World Bank interventions in Borno through the multi-sectoral crisis recovery project chaired by Governor Babagana Umara Zulum. Muhammad Guni reports.
The objective of the multi-sectoral crisis recovery project include support to the Nigerian government towards rehabilitation and improving critical service delivery, infrastructure, improve the livelihood opportunities of conflict and displacement affected communities, and strengthening social cohesion in the Northeast. The component of the project includes strengthening peace building, stability, and social cohesion. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umara, who reviewed performance of Component 1 and 2 of the MCRP project, called for more funding for the agricultural sector.
The Borno State Government is now intending to at least give a counterpart funding of about $5 million to the MCRP in order to carry out the Component 1 in the 2020 book.
MCRP is just the start, but we do want to make sure that it has a long-term vision to not only support recovery, but really in peace building.
Well, World Bank is giving a lot of importance to the Northeast agenda, and MCRP as the key implementation forum for taking the bank's engagement of the Northeast forward.
There were presentations by ministries of health, water resources, science and technology, agriculture, education, works, as well as local government and emirate affairs on MCRP interventions, challenges, as well as need for more support in the respective areas. In Maiduguri, Ramot Koni, NTA News.
President Muhammad Buhari has approved the renewal of the appointment of Mr. Aliu Aziz as Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI, for a second term. A statement signed by the General Manager Operations and Corporate Communications of NIMSI, Abdulhamid Umar, indicates that the letter of renewal conveyed by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, states that the President enjoins the DG to continue with the good work he is doing and take NIMSI to the next level in consonance with the federal government's doctrine of integrity, transparency and accountability.